Saw blades can be very confusing when you start woodworking to figure out which one of these do I buy. Have you ever went into the store and tried to pick out a saw blade? There's so much confusion about the terminology as well as the tooth count. In this video, we're going to cover all of that so you're more comfortable buying the right saw blade for your shop. Let's go. I've been able to use a bunch of different types of saw blades over the years to figure out what works best. I've used box store blades, I've used cheap blades, I've used very expensive blades, but there are some that just work better than others no matter what the cost is, and I want to recommend some of those to you as well. If you'd like to check out any of the blades I talk about today, there'll be a link in the description and the pinned comment to help you find them easier. First, let's cover the terminology around saw blades because that's the most confusing part. If you're shopping online or you're in the store, you may see letters beside the saw blade that say FTG or ATB, TCG, ATBR. It sounds like the Jackson 5 when they were singing the ABC song. It's just, there's so many letters, like what are we doing here? All those have a meaning and a purpose for the blade, and all they are, it tells you what type of teeth are on that blade. For instance, FTG, all that means is flat tooth grind. It just means it's going to be a flat tooth on the top, so when you make a pass through the wood, it's going to make a flat cut. Didn't get me. Typically, where you'll see that FTG is something like a ripping blade, a 24 tooth blade. It will have that flat tooth grind. The flat tooth is really designed for basically hogging out a bunch of material really fast. It doesn't necessarily make the cleanest of cuts, especially on cross cutting, but you can use that flat tooth for dados, things like that, or just ripping boards faster, easier, less burning. ATB is alternative top bevel, and you'll see a left slope and a right slope on alternate blades. And so what that's doing is basically taking a slice of the wood over and over and over, and you'll actually see that in the cut, especially if you cut a groove, you'll see how it's kind of V'd on there, or even from the top side view, you'll see how it's making that kind of a V groove as it's cutting through. Typically, you'll see that ATB in something like a 40 tooth blade or a multi-purpose blade because it can do both cross cutting and rip cutting. And we'll show you the results of that in just a minute. You may see TCG, which is triple chip grind. And all that is, you'll have one flat tooth and then one tooth that has bevels on both sides, plus a little bit of flat on top. And it creates kind of a unique shape in the kerf, basically just like a little ridge in there. You'll typically use that type of tooth on something like laminates or even aluminum or some other metals. And then finally, you may see ATBR. This is basically what they call a combination blade. It has the teeth of a ripping blade, the flat tooth grind, and it has an alternative bevel, so it's just a combination of those two. One thing to keep in mind though is all of these acronyms and things like that doesn't really matter for the beginner woodworker because most of the time you don't care about this stuff. You just want to cut the wood and cut it cleanly, and I'm going to tell you the exact blade you need for that. Before we go any further, just get a 40 tooth general purpose blade. These are some of the best blades you could buy for general purposes. The reason you would want a 24 tooth or even an 80 tooth blade are very different from this one, which we'll cover, but this will do almost everything you're going to need. I personally like something like a mid-grade style blade versus the very expensive blades or even the very cheap blades. I've used very cheap blades in the past that you just pick up at the box store. The problem is they don't last as long as far as the sharpness goes, and then your cut quality goes downhill pretty quick. There's two blades I'll recommend. A 40 tooth Wood River blade from Woodcraft. If you have a local Woodcraft, go check it out or just pick one up online. It's going to run you somewhere around $80, probably a little less actually. Or, and I've recommended these for a long time, CMT Orange Chrome. I like these blades. Not the ITK Extreme. Those are more in line with your box store style blades like Diablo, things like that, which Diablo works fine if that's working for you, and those are accessible to you, budget, and just pick one up at the store. Perfectly fine to use those. I'm just telling you, these last quite a bit longer as far as the sharpness goes, and they just perform better overall, in my opinion. The CMT blade will run you about $90-ish, so it is a decent investment. Or you could pick up something like a Diablo or Spider or something like that locally for 20 or 30 bucks. Just depends on your budget and how you're using your tools. The next thing you may see on your blade when you're trying to pick one out at the store or online is kerf. All kerf means is how thick is the blade. You may also see glue line rip blades. All that means is they're thinner kerfs, meaning they're going to take less material. Now, a thin kerf blade is really good on underpowered saws. So like contractor saws, benchtop style saws, if you can find a thin kerf in the tooth count that you want, this will really help your saw perform a lot better. Or if you just need to take off less material on a bigger saw, that's where the thin kerfs really come in. Typically, the kerf of the blade is about 1/8 inch, give or take, on most standard table saw blades. There's also a hollow grind or HG I don't think I've ever used one of those, but they're out there. On the hollow grind, you just basically got one that's a point and one that's kind of coned out. One thing you may notice on saw blades that I always found interesting, see that little question mark looking thing? Or J looking, like almost all blades have them, or some version of those. Some have like a copper insert on there. These Wood River ones have that copper insert. You get bonus points if you can comment and tell me what that little J is called. We'll see if you're right at the end of the video. Now there's two types of cuts you're going to be making with your saw blades. Either a rip cut, which all that means is you're going to cut with the grain, rip it with the grain, or cross cut, which means you're going across the grain. Even on plywood, plywood veneers have a grain pattern. You will see it when you look at it, the grain pattern running long ways, that's with the grain. If you cut across that, that's across the grain. How do you choose the right blade for the material you're going to cut? Well, I did a test just to show you exactly what results you're going to get. First off, let's look at a 24 tooth ripping blade. These are the ones that have a lot of space between each blade, and that is on purpose. It's got 24 teeth around this thing. Between those two teeth, that little notch there is called a gullet. And what that's for is when you're cutting big, thick stock, all of those chips get kind of piled in there before it gets thrown out under the saw or down in the dust collection. It is to remove more material, and that's what these ripping blades are absolutely amazing at. And so if you're using a 24 tooth blade, you can use it for cutting smaller stuff like plywood or even this pine you see here. It'll produce a pretty clean cut with the grain. But if you go across the grain, that's where you're really going to see a lot of tear out, some fraying, things like that, especially on plywood, stuff like that. So if you don't want to do cross cutting with a ripping blade, because it is to rip down the grain of the board. Now where the 24 tooth really shines is when I cut this thick piece of walnut, it glides really smooth. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it at all. The blade just cuts through the wood really nicely, and you don't see any burning or anything like that on the edge of the wood. You'll see some burning in a later clip when we talk about some higher tooth count blades doing this same operation. Now my favorite blade is the 40 tooth blade. I like the general purpose blade because that's what's on my saw almost 95% of the time. I rarely change it unless I'm doing a bunch of ripping on really thick stock. Or if I'm doing a lot of cross cutting, I may go to a higher tooth count. But this 40 tooth blade, 40 or 50 tooth or combination blades, you can use those as well. But I really like the 40 tooth general purpose because it does all things well. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. You can rip cut with it, like you see here. I ripped this pine, I ripped down the plywood. It cut just fine. Everything looks good. Really clean cut there, so you have no issues there. And then when you cross cut on the pine and on the plywood, you see here, both of these cuts are really nice and clean. That's with a 40 tooth general purpose. Really, if you're gonna invest any money into a blade or blades, I would highly recommend as a beginner, just grabbing a 40 tooth blade. You'll be happy with that for a long time. So why then would you pick up something like these, a 60 or even an 80 tooth? These are really good for laminates as well as plywoods. As you see here, you can rip with them on plywood or on thinner stock. It'll make a good, nice, clean cut. You can also cross cut on those, and it makes a really good, clean cut on those as well. So if you're building a bunch of cabinets, things like that, a good high tooth count blade is really gonna shine for you. However, if you use this to try to cut thicker stock, as you see here, first off, it's very difficult to push the stock through that blade. You have to use quite a bit of force, and it's taxing the motor on your table saw a lot more too because there's so many more teeth trying to cut through that wood. And another thing you're going to see is burning on the edge of the wood. Because the friction's building up on this blade, it's going to burn that wood, especially on lighter color woods like maple, pine even, and you can even see it here on this walnut. And you can see a massive difference in the rip cut on thicker stock we're using this high tooth count blade versus the lower 24 tooth count blade. So it really depends on what you're cutting as to what blade you're going to choose. But again, the 40 tooth general purpose blade is what most people is going to run on their saws almost all the time. Even a lot of professional wood shops are going to use that 40 tooth blade. And speaking of professional quality blades, there are some very high-end blades out there, and if you want to take a look at a couple of those, a lot of people love these two blades right here. The Forest Woodworker 2, this is one of the most popular blades on the market. It's also really expensive, so prepare yourself before you go look. As well as the Ridge Carbide. These are extremely nice blades. I run this Ridge Carbide a lot over the last year or so. It's been a really good blade. So if you're interested in one of those, I'll also link those. So why would you pay more for these versus something like the Wood River or even the CMT blade? I'll get a lot of pushback for this. I hadn't seen a whole lot of difference. You can resharpen some of these more often than others because they have more carbide on those, on the tips there, that when you send them off, they can resharpen them over and over and over. So you may get more actual life out of these blades here, but for my purposes, what I've always run on my saw has always been kind of the mid-grade blades. Other than when I was a beginner starting out, I used some of the more budget-friendly blades. When I was able to afford the more mid-grades, that's what I've been using. And I just prefer those just based on cost. $150 to $160 per blade, it just stings too much. So I wind up going with the other. But if you like these blades, you do you. Another blade that you'll eventually want to pick up for your table saw, if it accepts it, is a Dado stack. Now these are two of the most popular ones, in my opinion. This is Freud. These make really good Dado stacks. And then the new CMT locking Dado stack. These are touted to be safer because they lock together, as well as the only one that's EU compliant with their regulations. Basically, the EU regulated regular Dado stacks out of existence, or at least made it very difficult to get your hands on them in the EU. CMT kind of fixed that. There's a whole video if you want to go check that out. Just search CMT 731 illegal. I think you'll find it that way. But where these shine at is cutting wide grooves in boards. So if you're doing a lot of half flaps, or even if you're building a lot of cabinetry with some dados that fit together perfectly, or box joints, anything like that, this is what you're gonna want to save you a ton of time. Now these can tax certain table saws really hard because they are taking off so much material each pass, but they do save you a ton of time. So I'll link to these if you're interested. What if your saw doesn't accept a dado stack? In other words, the arbor isn't long enough. What then? Well, you can actually do a dado style cut with this blade, the 24 tooth. Remember, because it has that flat tooth grind, the flat top, you can cut grooves, dados in boards that have flat bottoms. And that's what you want, because if you try to put together a board that using an alternative tooth grind blade, what winds up happening is there's little ridges up in there that's just not going to sit flat, and you're going to be able to see that from the side, especially if you can see the joinery. This, you won't have that problem, because if you take small passes, just move it over a tiny bit at a time, it's going to create the same groove all the way across. It's going to be perfectly flat on the bottom. And a lot of people, including myself before I got a dado stack, used something like this to create dados. So now if you wanted to pick up two blades that'll pretty much do whatever you want, pick up a 24 tooth ribbon blade as well as a 40 tooth combination. You're going to be golden for most things. One thing to keep in mind is no matter where you're at in your journey, a lot of us, I know because I've been there, we're going to walk into the local Home Depot or Lowe's, and we're going to grab something like this, the Diablo blade, Spider, whatever your store's selling. I use these for a long time. These are the Diablo blades. I think they're really good. I think they're probably one of the better options for blades out there for those on a budget, because you can get them fairly inexpensive. But the reason I steer most people to something like the mid-grade, the CMT, the Wood River, things like that, is because of experience. These dull quite a bit faster than these, the mid-grade. And these work really well. Out of the box, for several cuts, you're gonna be perfectly fine. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna get good, clean cuts. But at some point, they're going to start dulling, and that's where I think that the other ones just outperform them in the long run. But if you're on a budget, there's nothing wrong with those. But one thing I do want you to be cautious of is, because I've done it, when I first got my miter saw, the DeWalt miter saw, I was so happy to get it. I started making cuts, and I was like, I'm not getting really good cuts on there. Why? Because the miter saw and most table saws come with subpar blades. They're really cheap, they're really dull. They just don't cut well. Especially on miter saws, what you're getting is a blade meant for rough construction, for framing up houses and things like that. They're not meant for woodworking. You can upgrade that blade to something like a higher tooth count. On miter saws, I highly recommend an 80 or 90 tooth blade, because almost always you're doing cross cutting on your miter saw. You're gonna get much cleaner cuts. I love the CMT 80 tooth blade. That's what I run on my miter saw. That's what's on that miter saw up there right now. And then here is a backup one that I have here. You may also see hook or rake, and all that is the angle of the tooth in relation to the blade. Positive hook will lean forward on the blade, a negative hook obviously the other way, and then there may be also a zero or neutral rake or hook, whichever way you want to call it. Positive are a little more aggressive, so you'll probably see those on things like your ripping blades, stuff like that. Negative, a lot of times you're going to see that on miter saw blades. A negative rake will create smoother cuts with a slower speed rate. So in other words, miter saws, when you're taking it real slow, you're going to get that smooth cut, whereas on a ripping blade, you're going a little bit faster. You may also see bore, and most of the time you're going to see a table saw that says 5/8 bore. All that means is the hole size that goes onto your table saw. Almost all your table saws are 5/8 arbors. So where you put the blade on that bolt, that's the bore. So that's all that means. On miter saws, a lot of those are 1 inch. If you're outside the US, you may see millimeters. We don't use those. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about your table saw blades, your miter saw blades, even your circular saw blades, is they do need regular maintenance, and that's something I typically sometimes neglect. However, I've recently purchased this micro jig blade clean system. This thing's awesome. All you do is buy some Simple Green. It has a scrubbing pad. It has a magnetic handle that sticks to any of your blades. This allows you to put this in there and then just turn it, and it's scrubbing the junk off the blade. Especially if you're cutting a lot of pine, things like that, that sap and the heat that's being generated by the friction, the sap will build up on there, and you'll think your blade is dull when it's really just dirty. I've done that several times when I was a beginner. I would think I needed a new blade, even the Diablo line of blades, things like that. I would think, oh man, I gotta get another blade. It was just dirty. All you gotta do is clean it, and you'll be back up in business. I think you'll be shocked at how much better your blades perform when they're clean. I know a lot of people, I got a good friend that every time he uses a saw blade, after every project, at the end of the day, he takes it off and cleans it and puts it back on. If you're that type person, awesome. I'm not, but when it starts kind of getting a little dull or my cuts aren't as clean as I think they should be, clean them dudes up, you'll be back in business. Remember the little J or the question mark looking thing? That is called an expansion slot. Not only does it help dissipate the heat, it also absorbs the shock, things like that. When the saw blade first makes contact with the stock, it will dissipate that throughout the saw blade using that little slot. It's kind of a neat little feature. This also helps control expansion and contraction and can prevent your table saw or any saw blade from warping because of that. Kind of cool. And almost every saw blade you see is gonna have one of some sort. Diablos are a little different as they're just little squigglies inside the blade, but serves the same purpose. I also think there's actually a name people call that thing, but if you know, let me know, other than expansion slot. One thing to keep in mind is that most table saw blades have this information printed on them. For instance, the CMT blades, it has the rake on there. It also has all the tooth count information, everything you're gonna need printed on there. Most of these table saw blades will have that information so you can see it at a quick glance. And if you're looking at circular saw blades, all of these principles still apply. High tooth count for more cross cutting, low tooth count for more ripping, and then you can always find more of a general purpose tooth count blade. And you're looking at a 40 to 50 tooth there as well. And if you're a beginner, one thing to keep in mind that I messed up when I was starting out is you don't have to over tighten these blades when you put them on. They just need to be snug. It doesn't matter if you got 2 wrenches with your table saw like this. Some have a button that lock the arbor and then you tighten the nut down. Just snug, not loose, just give it a little snug. I over tightened one on an old table saw that I had and like to have never got that thing off because it was just too tight. So make sure you just snug it up. You don't want it to come loose. You don't want it to be a pain to get off of there. Snug and then a little. That's what I do. A smidge, snug and a smidge. What's your favorite saw brand? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, you'll love that video, mistakes to avoid when using your table saw. You gotta watch that video. Click that box, click in the box, get you the big old virtual fist bump. Thanks for watching.